You're watching News Central now on News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Barring any last-minute changes, President Bola Tinubu to present 2025 budget proposal to National Assembly at noon. National Bureau of Statistics says Nigerians paid more than 2.323 trillion naira in ransom between May 2023 and April 2024. Ugandan court asks government to pay victims of war crimes reparations. Details shortly. News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where President Bola Tinubu is set to present the 2025 budget proposal to the National Assembly on Wednesday. Now, this will mark President Tinubu's second full budget presentation since assuming office in May 2023. It will be recalled that on 3rd December, the Senate approved the 2025-2027 Medium Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, projecting total spending of 47.9 trillion naira. Now, the approved framework includes a new borrowing plan of 9.22 trillion naira, comprising domestic and foreign loans. Nigerians are hopeful that the proposed budget will provide relief amid the country's ongoing economic challenges. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigerians paid more than 2.23 trillion naira in ransom between May 2023 and April 2024. In its latest report, the NBS recorded 51.89 million crime incidents across households, with the Northwest reporting the highest at 14 million cases, while the Southeast reported the lowest at 6 million. Now, rural areas experienced more crimes, with 26.5 million cases compared to 25.3 million in urban areas. Among households affected by kidnappings, 65% reportedly paid ransoms, with an average payment of 2.67 million naira per case. 4.14 million households also experienced home robberies, but only 36.3% reported incidents to the police, citing distrust in law enforcement. Now, phone theft emerged as the most common individual crime, with 13.8% of victims reporting such incidents. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory has recorded a significant decline in kidnapping incidents, marking notable progress in its fight against crime. Director of Security Services, Adamu Gwari, said months have passed without any reported kidnappings, a stark improvement compared to 2023, when such crimes were at their peak. Gwari credited the success to the unwavering commitment of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, particularly in addressing security challenges in rural communities. Now, speaking at a year-end briefing, he emphasized that enhanced security measures and increased support for law enforcement agencies have been central to the progress achieved. The FCTA has also implemented a system of monthly crime statistics to guide security operations and strengthen intelligence sharing with the Office of the National Security Advisor. We now head to Delta State, where after media reports about the alleged death of 81-year-old Pa Dennis Okugbaye and treasurer of Okwama community of Ughelli South local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria, who was arrested and detained in military detention at Bori camp in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, the Nigerian Military Authority on Tuesday has bowed to pressure and released the octogenarian to the senator representing Delta Central Senatorial District, Senator Ede Dafion. Now, Pa Okugbaye was said to have been arrested by the Nigerian army alongside other leaders of the community in August, but his people alleged him to have died in military detention after they got information about his ill health and death of the President General of the community. Pa Dennis, who was reported to have died in military detention, was released on bail following the intervention of Senator Dafion, and he is expected to produce him on demand. Recall that Senator Dafion also used his office to defect the release of the Ewu King when he was arrested on the same issue. The sick Paul Kugbaye is currently admitted into University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, and his family members around to take care of him. Let's go back in time and recall how this all started. The Okwama community in Delta State, Ughelli South local government area, was accused of killing 17 soldiers on a peacekeeping mission on March 14, 2024. This led to a military reprisal attack that left the community devastated. A 6-week military siege denied access to media, civilians, and the state governor, Sheriff Oborewari. Notable indigents, including the traditional ruler of Ewu Kingdom, were declared wanted. A report by News Central correspondent Austin Azu highlighting the community's destruction led to the military's withdrawal. The state government then persuaded the community to relocate to an IDP camp, promising to rebuild. However, in August 2024, community leaders were arrested and detained in a military base in Port Harcourt. Allegations surfaced of the President General of Okwama community to have died, and the treasurer, Pa Dennis Okugbaye, dying in military detention as well. We now stay in Delta State, where since Olufemi Abaniwanda assumed office as the 22nd Commissioner of Police in Delta State 8 months ago, the State Police Command says it has achieved significant successes in combating crime and criminality. The Delta State Police Chief briefed newsmen at the presentation of his scorecard while parading suspects at the State Police Command headquarters in Asaba. The CP, who gave the breakdown of his success stories, took advantage of the event to reassure residents of the state of crime-free Yuletide season.
My watch, the command arrested over 678 suspects, including 130 suspected armed robbers, 88 suspected kidnappers, 76 murder suspects, 229 suspected cultists, 54 suspects arrested for rape and defilement offenses, a total number of 150 firearms, which includes 32 AK-47 rifles, 27 Beretta pistols, 72 single barrel locally made cut-to-size guns, and 19 pump-action guns were recovered. And lastly, a total of 5,042 rounds of ammunition cartridges were also recovered within the period under review.
And now to politics. The Edo State House of Assembly has suspended all 18 local government council chairmen and vice chairmen for 2 months over alleged insubordination and financial misconduct, as petitioned by Governor Monday Okpeolo. The Assembly directed council legislative leaders to assume interim leadership. Now, the motion proposed by Isibo Ade and seconded by Donald Okogbe passed with 14 votes in favor, 6 against, and 3 abstentions. Speaker Blessing Agbebaku mandated a formal vote despite prior agreement during an executive session, prompting mild drama as Chief Whip Prince Yekini Idaye questioned the additional debate. The Assembly's resolution underscores its stance on governance accountability and temporary administrative continuity. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by Orobosa Omojo, a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Orobosa. Please go ahead and share with us, your thoughts on the suspension of the local government chairman and vice chairman. Are there specific laws or regulations that govern such actions?
Yes, it is very, very clear and it's very apt that the House of Assembly has the power to supervise, to monitor, and to inquisite the activities of the local government in Nigeria through the House Committee on Local Government. And I think that is what happened yesterday. The House of Assembly is aligned with what the functions that they carried out yesterday, up to the point that they read the letter, the complaint from the executive arm, which to me is not new. All through the campaign period, there were petitions flying from left, right, and center that the 18 local government council chairmen were spending the money meant for the development of our rural area on the campaign activities of the PDP and its candidates. The petitions were there, and I think it behoves on the new governor to look at those petitions in such a way that Edo State can be taken more seriously. Edo State can be seen that the new government is ready for business, because you can't appropriate money for the provision of infrastructure and for the overall development of the local government, and such money we end up in buying of tundra vehicles and campaign buses and printing of T-shirts and cards and payment for billboards and all that. So I think what the government did yesterday was to amplify this complaint that he met on the table of Mr. Godwin Obaseki, which he failed to act on, and merely reported the case to the House of Assembly that has the constitutional role to supervise this local government, and in fact to supervise the state government. That was what any irresponsible governor would have announced from Government House, that he was suspending or sacking some numbers of the local government council chairman. But he did the right thing, and I think in the wisdom of the House of Assembly and Mr. Speaker, he put it out there for debate.
All right, Orobosa, but don't you think that this particular decision could lead to tensions? Hello, Orobosa, can you hear me now? There seems to be a delay between us.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, but don't you think that
Yes.
regarding this decision, that it could actually lead to tensions between the state government and the local government officials?
No, I don't think so, because the majority of the people they have been waiting for this action to be taken. I think the House of Assembly slept over their rights. If the House of Assembly has acted before this government came in, there will be no need for this. I don't think there's any tension. There would have been tension if the executive arm led by the new governor has taken a unilateral decision to suspend them. But what it did was that, hey, you guys are the monitor, you guys are the captains, please look into this matter in such a way that the local government administration can be in sync with what we tend to do, what his government intends to do. I think there will be no tension. I feel the tension should be between the local government and the House of Assembly. That's the way I say it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Orobosa, for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And with that, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you how stakeholders urge holistic re-education for repentant Boko Haram members. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Now, Islamic scholars and counter-terrorism experts are urging the Nigerian government to adopt a holistic approach to the de-radicalization of repentant Boko Haram members in the northeast and other parts of the country. Now, speaking during a multi-stakeholder engagement in Maiduguri, organized by Al-Amin Foundation for Peace and Development, they identified key strategies including theological re-education, psychological counseling, and dialogue rooted in authentic Islamic teachings. News Central's Umari Kirawa completes the report.
The battle to maintain peace in the terrorist-ravaged northeast region of Nigeria is continuing, with terrorists surrendering to the government. Stakeholders here, including religious leaders and counter-terrorism experts, discuss some of the best avenues to address emerging threats.
Our discovery is that no matter what resources you give these people, no matter what intervention you make, no matter how you seclude and teach them, so long as you are not able to address those issues, the misconceptions and misinformation that are fed into their heads, honestly, the process is incomplete.
Constitution in mutum ya yadda da shi, ya fi Qur'ani ya kafirta, ya daidaita shi da Qur'ani ya kafirta. Amma idan yana aiki da shi ba tare da ya yadda cewa Constitution din daidai take da Qur'ani ko ta fi Qur'ani ba, shi ba kafiri bane. Shi musulmi ne. Da manzo Allah ya ce alƙalai guda uku ne. Wanda ya yi hukunci da abin da Qur'ani ya kawo, ya kuma yi daidai yadda Qur'ani ya kawo, dan aljanna ne. Amma ne bai ce kafirai bane guda biyun da ba su ɗaya da ya yi hukunci da jahilci da wanda ya yi hukunci da son zuciyar shi bayan gaskiya, duk manzo Allah bai ce kafirai bane. To in ba su zama kafirai ba, kenan su musulmai ne. Ga hadisan manzo Allah kuma ratata wanda manzo Allah yake cewa ƙarshen zamani shugabanni za su zo a gangan jikin dan adam, zuciyarsu zuciyar shedan, amma kuma manzo Allah ya gaya wa sahabban nan ko musu biyayya a matsayin shugabannin ku.
They emphasized the need for deliberate and structured efforts to engage repentant Boko Haram members in de-radicalization programs.
About 6 months ago, we are undergoing this training on how to build a resilience against violence extremism through an alternative narration.
The stakeholders also called on the government to strengthen existing de-radicalization frameworks and involve community and religious leaders in the process.
Anyone who has come from the poorest for our side or in the state, but please, and please, I will just request to ask the people, and they just consider them as the brothers and sisters. That's what I want to advise the people of Borno and Nigeria at large.
The stakeholders stressed the need for collaboration between religious institutions, government agencies, and community leaders to support reintegration efforts. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
We now head to Parliament, where the Senate has advanced a bill to ban the use of foreign currencies for payments in Nigeria. Sponsored by Senator Ned Nwoko, the bill proposes amending the Central Bank Act of 2007 to ensure all transactions, including salaries, are conducted in Naira. Senator Nwoko says reliance on foreign currencies like the dollar and pound undermines the Naira's value and worsens economic challenges. He described the practice as a colonial relic that threatens Nigeria's economic independence. The proposed law aims to promote the local currency and strengthen the country's financial system. The bill has now scaled its first reading in the Senate. Earlier, Niyi Duale, founding partner Duale Ovia and Alex Adedikpe law firm, spoke to us on this development.
Basically, something that we saw as early as October. So we're not sure exactly what was passed today by the Senate. But I think the first thing is that it's going to have both positive and negative effects on the economy. And the reason why I say that is, in Nigeria right now and for past few years, what you see is that people are holding dollars as a hedge against inflation to basically deal with whatever the cost pool inflation that we have in Nigeria is. So what I think is that in terms of what the effect will be, you will find a better reliance in terms of people utilizing the Naira, hopefully, and then obviously we'll be able to move away from dollarization of our economy as we currently see. But in the long run, essentially what we'll see is that if this is properly effected and implemented, it will have the effect of reducing demand on foreign currencies and then basically help to shore up the value of the Naira.
Staying with the Parliament, the Nigerian Senate has passed the 2014 Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill. The passage followed the consideration of a report of the Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions presented by Committee Chairman Senator Adetokunbo Abiru during Tuesday's plenary session. We have details in this report.
Senator Abiru, who presented the report, told his colleagues that its proposition sought to essentially consolidate various existing legislations regulating the business of insurance in the country. The federal lawmaker representing Lagos East Senatorial District noted that another major objective of the bill was to enable Nigerians have a say in determining a better future for themselves.
After the public hearing, the committee painstakingly analyzed the presentations made at the public hearing by some key stakeholders, and some of the summary will include that on the whole, the inputs made on the proposed bill as recommended by the committee for the approval of the Senate will go a long way in providing a comprehensive legal framework for the regulation and supervision of all manner of insurance businesses in Nigeria in order to ensure that the industry is able to successfully compete on a global level and also improve international competitiveness of Nigeria's insurance industry.
In their various contributions, senators voiced their concerns over the proposed minimum capital requirement of 35 billion naira for reinsurance businesses. They argued that the status quo should be maintained due to the prevailing economic dynamics in the country.
My amendment is that in view of the fact that subsequent increase in the insurance capital base have been leading to the death of insurance company in Nigeria, and reflective on the economy, I propose that the existing capital base of Nigeria Insurance Company, which is not even backed up by any law so far, should be retained, rather than going to 45 billion.
Insurance companies ought to even be bigger. They ought to be bigger than even banks. Insurance companies actually even own banks.
Ruling on the passage, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jibrin Barau, who presided over the session, said this bill would help inspire a turnaround for the Nigerian insurance industry.
Of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, the National Insurance Corporation of Nigeria Act Cap 54N, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, the Nigerian Reinsurance Corporation Act Cap N131, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for a comprehensive legal and regulatory framework for insurance business in Nigeria and for related matters 2024, third reading taken and passed. Will really help in reshaping our economy for the better.
According to the sponsor of the bill, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, one major highlight is that it will help create a robust legal and regulatory framework for the insurance sector, helping it to contribute positively to Nigeria's financial ecosystem.
The Nigerian Prison Service, NPS, was renamed the Nigerian Correctional Service on August 15, 2019, when President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Nigerian Correctional Service Act of 2019 into law. Now, over the years, stakeholders say without structural reforms, this has only remained symbolic. With some of the world's most congested correctional centers, overcrowding stems from punitive measures, denial of bail, and poor judicial practices. Now, experts suggest solutions like granting bail more consistently, using funds for decongestion effectively, and adopting non-custodial sentences such as community services and parole. The Mantu Temple demonstrates this. An NGO freed over 200 inmates with fines as low as 2,000 naira using just 250,000 naira. Now, legal frameworks like the ACJA already provide avenues for reforms, but implementation is critical to achieving lasting decongestion and true correctional service in Nigeria. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by a lawyer, Douglas Ogbankwa. Good morning, Douglas. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's look at the significance of, rebranding of the Nigerian Prison Service to the Nigerian Correctional Service. Would you say that it has resulted in meaningful reforms?
The name change of the Nigerian Prison Service to become the Nigerian Correctional Service is just tilted towards the change of nomenclature. Beyond changing the name, we also need to change the modus operandi of our correctional services in Nigeria. You see, there is a very strong connection between the prison or the correctional services and the judiciary. That is why it is very, very important for there to be some kind of rejigging of our judicial process in order to decongest the Nigerian prison. If a person is arraigned for an offense, and the offense is not one that carries death sentence, it is a misdemeanor or a simple offense, there is no reason why that person, most times who comes from his house, should not go home the same day. I have said this severally, that the Nigerian judiciary seems to be on an auto-remand mode. A person that is arraigned in court is unlikely to go home the same day. And that is the major reason for the decongestion of Nigerian prison. In Nigeria, we do not count the cost. So we just do things and there is really no computation of what are the cost implications of what we do. Every single person you remand in prison custody actually will be taken care of by the federal government. That is why I've also advocated that, thank God, now correctional services is within the concurrent legislative list. Let state offenses, let those who are alleged to have committed state offenses, they should go to state prison, while those who are alleged to have committed federal offenses should go to federal prisons. So the state government themselves will know how much it costs to run correctional services. That way, they may have to have it rethink on the way people are being remanded in prison.
Okay.
The other day I was in court, just because the client was unable to get into the court premises 10 minutes late, the magistrate said the person is remanded for 3 days because he came late. And I told the magistrate, Your Worship, sir, have we counted the cost of these two persons going to prison for 3 days? Because if we counted the cost, we will know that every single thing we do in Nigeria has cost implications and has a broader implication on the Nigerian economy.
Now, but if you can hear me, Douglas, speaking of implications, what role do judicial officers and bail conditions play in worsening prison congestion? And how do you think that these particular issues can be addressed?
That's a very brilliant question. Now, you see, it is not possible for a person to be taken to the prison without the pronouncement of a judicial officer. That is why the most critical element in reforming our correctional services, I would say, is having to find a way to make my lord, their worships, and their honors understand. When I say my lord, their worship, and their honors, I'm talking about those who preside over court proceedings. That people shouldn't just go to prison just for the sake of it. I have said it times without number that aside being dead or being in the hospital, the most critical thing that can happen to you in life is going to prison. So going to prison should not be as a matter of cost. I'll give you an example. In some states in Nigeria, if not in all states in Nigeria, a policeman, an EFCC official could just take an ex parte order to court, give it to the judge or the magistrate. And if that Nigerian citizen is not lucky enough to have a brilliant lawyer arguing his case, consider it granted. And I've argued times without number that it is unconstitutional for you to remand people without giving them an opportunity to be heard. Section 36 of Section 6 of the Constitution says that in any proceedings in court that would determine the rights and liberties of citizens, they shall, being the operative word, be given an opportunity to be heard. That constitutional provision supersedes any other law of the State House of Assembly that gives you power to go and remand the Nigerian citizen. without giving them an opportunity to be heard. And I've also stated that when they go with those remand proceedings, they do not even add the proof of evidence. The proof of evidence being the statements of the suspect, statements of witnesses, the exhibits to be relied upon in the trial, and also the police investigation report. They will take an empty file to court. And based on an empty file, you remand a Nigerian citizen. That is completely unacceptable. And I have also argued that that has contributed immensely to prison decongestion. And if we are able to rejig our modus operandi in terms of the way we remand Nigerian citizens, you will realize that there will be no much prison decongestion in Nigeria.
Okay.
I also want to say something. I also want to say something before you cut me short. That anytime you remand a Nigerian citizen, there is a broader implication for the economy. Most of these people remanded, they own businesses. And once you remand them, consider those businesses remanded. Because most businesses are closed because their CEOs are remanded in prison custody. Children are unable to go to school because their parents have been remanded in prison custody. Some people die from inadequate health care because the person who provides the money for them to access the hospital is remanded in prison custody. So there are very great consequences for the larger society.
Well, sorry, we have to cut you short here, but thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Pleasure is actually mine. Thank you so much.
Now, away from that, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, SAN, has described Abia State as the heartbeat of industrialization in the southeast region. Now, during the flag-off of the construction of the Abia Airport project at Nsulu, Isialangwa South local government area of the state, he said the airport is a veritable enabler for economic and social development. Also speaking, the Deputy Speaker, Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, says President Tinubu is deliberate about the development of the Southeast and Abia in particular. Abia State Governor Alex Oti, who jointly performed the groundbreaking ceremony of the new airport at Isialangwa North local government of the state, says that the project is in partnership with the federal government and will be completed in 36 months.
It doesn't add up at all that the heart of industrialization of the Southeast does not have an airport. And I can tell you that there are already plans afoot, myself and the governor just spoke, that it's not just going to be a passenger airport, but a cargo airport too. Most of the beautiful things we say made in Nigeria are made in Abia, most of them. There's no reason why we cannot process goods from here, manufactured in Nigeria, process them and export directly from Abia.
Thank you, Mr. Governor, for remembering our people. While we build projects, we must put the human face in our leadership, remembering there are people who have given up something for the development to come in. And I want to assure you, like I've assured you while sitting down, that we are going to cooperate with you in finishing any project started by the federal government in collaboration with you.
The initial design of this project will allow for what they call a type 4D runway of 2.8 kilometers with provision for further upgrade to type 4E runway, which is the longest runway of 3.6 kilometers to accommodate bigger sizes of aircraft in due course. May I quickly inform you that we have started preparations for payment.
To health matters, the importance of mental health in Nigeria is becoming increasingly critical as many Nigerians face health challenges daily. For women and young girls, staying informed and proactive about their health is essential as medical issues can arise at any time. Recognizing this, the government, private sector, NGOs, and other stakeholders are working together to address these pressing concerns. News Central's Chidimma Ona has more.
Makoko, often referred to as one of Lagos' most underserved communities, is home to thousands of families striving to overcome daily challenges. For a long time, critical gaps in health and education have disproportionately affected communities like Makoko, particularly impacting women and young girls in areas such as menstrual health and skill empowerment. This comes as a group of women show support to the women of Makoko, aiming to provide better access to healthcare and essential resources.
It's more about spreading love and fostering resilience between women, empowering women, teaching the young girls in the community about mental health and menstrual health. So those are things that people do not really talk about. Everybody shies away of talking about menstrual health, but without, going through a period, nobody's going to be here.
I want a situation where we can have more capable young ladies, aspiring to become someone in the society, take advantage of, the menstrual health training, girls talk, and know that it doesn't end here. Even with a child, you can still go back to school and become who you are and who you want to be and help the society at large.
For women and young girls, menstrual periods are a common part of life. Many emphasize that proper education and awareness are crucial for managing this natural process.
We need it as girls because we don't have educated mothers, and most of the time we don't have access to those things at home. So we need it, we actually need it in a very big way and in an educative way.
Sometimes I don't have money to get pad, but now that I use this pad, I can use it for this December and January. Feeling some pain, I can go to hospital or get pills to use.
Health professionals highlight the importance of regular checkups as a vital component of women's overall wellness.
Most of these things should be taught in schools too, because most parents are not educated, they don't know. Nobody taught them along the line. If they can teach them in schools, just have those basic classes. Just, put it in the curriculum somewhere along the line. That will really help.
As discussions on menstrual health and empowerment continue to grow, ongoing efforts demonstrate that true community development extends beyond seasonal celebrations and begins with prioritizing the wellness of women. In Lagos, reporting for News Central, I am Chidima Ona.
Thank you, Chidima, for that report. Now, Christmas season is a period of celebration and merrymaking. As such, for traders and transporters, it is usually a period of boom for their businesses when they record the most sales within a single month of the year. This year, however, it appears Nigeria's economic downturn is taking its toll on Christmas season sales as traders are recording low patronage amidst the escalating prices of goods. News Central's Chinwe Ogele has a report.
I am standing right here inside Oriuba Market in Omahia when Christmas is only 9 days away. Traders are in their shops with their wares displayed.
Since things are very costly. Virtually everything in the market is expensive.
Madam, how much is your achara? You see, this achara I'm holding that is used to make Abia State local delicacy known as Ofe achara used to be 100 naira, but right now it is 200 naira.
Because of the higher price of the commodity, people are not coming inside to buy the market.
Although these prices will still soar before Christmas, they can still make some sales within the time.
Maybe from next week now, you see people coming in, buying things.
A comparison of the prices of things in the market indicates that 50 kilogram of rice was sold at 70,000 naira in 2023, but in 2024, it is selling at 120,000 naira. 5 liters of vegetable oil was sold at 8,500 naira, but in 2024, it sells for 18,000 naira. One 50 kg bag of onions was 110,000 naira in 2023, but it is now 350,000 naira. A pint of fresh tomatoes was 4,000 naira last year, but in 2024, it is 6,000 naira.
It was not how it was before. Maybe someone would be like, how can I buy 4 pieces of onions at a rate of 1,000 naira?
And I felt pity for people buying it. Even me, I felt pity for myself too.
because it's not easy.
The traders say they have no control of the market price because they only sell as they buy.
We don't buy on credit, but when they come to the market, because of lack of cash, they'll keep like begging you. Find out someone will buy something of 20,000 and pay like 3 times.
The people say they are overwhelmed by the development, but will still celebrate Christmas.
We virtually celebrate the birth of Christ.
Transportation fares are yet to increase for travelers.
Due to the high cost of things in the market and the inflation of things around us, how the cost of fuel and nothing. So that's why we have less passengers. But before, by this time, you see people trooping from north, south, and every other place, Lagos, Abuja, all this place. But based on transport, now people are no longer coming like that.
By this same time in 2023, traders and customers were complaining about the cost of things, but little did they know that in a year's time, the prices of commodities would have doubled. In Omaha for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugeli.
Coming up after the break, Cyclone Chido hits Mozambique, claims 34 lives. We have details in a moment. Join us again. Now staying in East Africa, a Ugandan International Crimes Division Court has ordered the Ugandan government to pay reparations to war crime victims affected by atrocities committed by former Lord's Resistance Army commander Thomas Koyelo. The judges argue that the order is based on both international and domestic law on the grounds that the 50-year-old has no funds. Koyelo was captured in 2009 in the Democratic Republic of Congo and held in detention until a court found him guilty in August of murder, kidnap with intent to murder, pillaging, cruel treatment, torture, rape, and crimes against humanity. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison in October. The LRA, founded in 1986 by Joseph Kony, led a more than 20-year insurgency against the Ugandan government and is accused of carrying out multiple massacres. Kony remains at large. National Institute of Risk and Disaster Management of Mozambique on Tuesday announced that the country has been hit by Cyclone Chido, a natural disaster that has so far claimed at least 34 lives. The cyclone first hit the country on Sunday at the Cabo Delgado province, where 28 people were killed. Another 19 people were reportedly injured by the cyclone, which brought winds of around 260 kilometers an hour and heavy rainfall of around 250 millimeters in 24 hours, the center said. Nearly 23,600 homes and 170 fishing boats were destroyed and 175,000 people affected by the storm. Now, Chido struck a part of northern Mozambique that is regularly battered by cyclones and is already vulnerable because of conflict and underdevelopment.
Kwanza mensage arina telefoni ayo cha huwa mensage tankuno machuru rabe pure la kukuwa bani tawele ke skola atamana lo yo atamana bana ko hi bana na atamana lo skola ntusiriale asina matoto kwa kana mayara kwa ko 10 mwaje skola ntusiriale mnitawele choni mmo.
And now in the world of sports, Nigeria's star striker Asisat Oshoala narrowly missed out on the coveted Mata Award at FIFA's The Best Awards in Doha, Qatar. The Mata Award, introduced in 2024, celebrates excellence in women's soccer, honoring the legendary Brazilian forward Mata, a 6-time FIFA Women's Player of the Year. The 38-year-old icon claimed the honor with a breathtaking solo goal scored in June, which won over fans and experts alike. Oshoala, known for her incredible talent and influence in women's football, was among the top contenders, scoring or underscoring her stature on the global stage. Still talking sports, Edo Queens will open their Nigeria Women Football League title defense at home against Abia Angels on January 15, 2025. The fixture was confirmed during the NWFL Annual General Assembly in Abuja on Tuesday. The league will feature 16 teams that are split into 2 groups of 8. Edo Queens in Group A will face rivals like Ekiti Queens and Heartland Queens, while Group B features heavyweights Rivers Angels, Ibom Angels, Adamawa Queens, and Niger Rattles FC. The top 3 teams from each group will advance to the NWFL Premiership Super 6 playoffs, which will determine the season's champion. Edo Queens aim to maintain their dominance as the league kicks off in January. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our top stories. We told you that barring any last-minute changes, President Bola Tinubu to present 2025 budget proposal to National Assembly at noon. We also told you that National Bureau of Statistics says Nigerians paid more than 2.23 trillion naira in ransom between May 2023 and April 2024. Finally, you heard that Ugandan court asks government to pay victims of war crimes reparations. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.